It's too bad I could have started and gone live with that.
That would have been perfect, wouldn't it?
Good morning, everybody. This is the Nomad. I have coming to you from the wastelands of the internet, and I have dragged poor Jensen kicking and screaming, "I don't want to go!" into the storyline with me. As you can hear, I do have Jensen with me today. I hope that you're all having a wonderful weekend. I got a lot of chores to do, a lot of to-do me lists. You know, the honeydew list is quite full. But in the meantime, we can get started. All right. Shall we start with the first one?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Hundreds of protesters gather outside a pub in support of drag queen storytelling event that is the target of a rally by demonstrators just weeks after a violent clash outside of Tate Britain. Hundreds of protesters have gathered outside a pub in South London in support of drag queen storytelling event for children after an opposition group, Turning Point UK, announced plans to try and prevent it from taking place. First of all, the first problem I have with this is, where are you finding these hundreds of protesters to support drag queen story hour for children?
You can almost guarantee that at least 90% of them were probably people from the uni. And just to give you a full and fair warning, technically that was within 5 miles of my house. Just seeing where it was, that was within 5 miles of my house.
Okay. What is this Turning Point UK?
It's literally, as it suggested, it's the right-wing side saying, yeah, we're sick and tired of our children being played with by nonces, i.e. the pedos that go to these things. Well, and basically, we're going to protest against it.
The Turning Point USA is a conservative African-American group here in the United States. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it also the same way with you guys? Is it a racially divided group?
No. We're taking it in a much more literal definition of, we're just sick of your shit. We don't care who you are or who we are in and of itself. We're just sick and tired of this sort of crap. Stop it.
Why is it supposed right wing that you're protesting drag queen story hour?
You literally answered your own question. Anybody that says something against the story hour, I'm doing my best not to say pedo story hour. I'm fighting the urge. And as I was saying, anyone who speaks out against that is now considered right-wing, far-right.
Well, this person carrying this sign, queer joy is for all ages.
Yeah.
Right there's your freaking problem.
Like I said,
there's your problem. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what? But we're not done.
Don't worry. Oh no, you're probably gonna have something like this in your country soon as well.
Oh well, we have had it. They tried to make a comment, by the way, before I go on to the next story, which I brought up, just as tease for people can see where we're going with things today. All right.
Fair warning.
They tried to make a comment. It was a story that said, "Oh, drag queen story hours have been happening for decades before they became noticed by the right." No, they weren't. No, they weren't. No. Okay, you did not have drag queen story hour. You did not have people dressing up and saying, we're going to sit up there and do drag queen story hour, all right, anywhere outside of probably Soho or Greenwich Village. Okay? Yeah.
Well, to continue the concept of having a good bish about them rewriting the universe and history and things, because let's be honest, that's exactly what they're doing. You do know that they're actually trying to rewrite history for when black people were over in England. They're suggesting that apparently, and this one may or may not make you laugh your ass off, But basically, they're trying to claim that there were black people over in Britain during the colonial times, which suggests that actually black people were the colonizers. But we don't like to mention that part.
Well, during colonial times, what are you referring to? You talking about the 1700s?
No, we're going back to the 1400s.
No, there's
There were probably maybe 10 black people in England. The
I'm
whole
sure.
of England.
I'm sure the that you had once in a while Moors come up to visit as far as diplomatic type of things and stuff like that. But no, you did not have that.
Yeah, that's the point. They're trying to suggest that they were in positions of authority, as in to the degree that they were like high-level diplomats and prepare yourself for this, king's advisors.
Well, they may have been king advisors for the Moors.
No, they were the British king's advisors.
No, I don't
That's the
think
point.
so.
No, me neither. And
Anyway,
you're pretty good with your history. That's why I thought I'd let you know.
students at Cornwall school riot or school riot over red card scheme for female pupils on period. What the hell is this?
Okay.
All
Well,
right,
for what, as you guys
let me
are
read this.
obviously incompetent colonials, I will explain that over here, a period is when women have their monthlies, i.e., when they menstruate. It is not the end of a sentence. Okay? I know this is a thing for you Americans.
It's not that I
Makes
don't know
us
what a
laugh.
period is. All right. Tables were flipped over during student protest over new toilet rules at Cornwall Academy, according to one of its pupils. The protest broke out at Penrhys Academy in St. Austell, Cornwall, on Friday as hundreds of students demonstrated against a new school rule which bans pupils from going to the toilet during lessons.
Yeah.
Okay. The new rules are said to include a red card scheme in which female students need a special card to go to the toilet when on their periods.
Mm-hmm.
One student at the academy said he was not involved, but witnessed the demonstration by scores of pupils, adding, "It was originally meant to be a peaceful protest, but it escalated relatively fast. People started like flipping tables and climbing fences." He added something like a bin was thrown through a window. I assume that's a trash basket, a
Yes.
waste basket.
Yes.
The teenager estimated about 300 students took part, and quite a number of them were suspended immediately and sent home. Really?
Oh no, we're being sent home from school. We are so desperate to go to school. Bye.
You have how long is the school period? A class period.
You're looking at basically
We have
a
other
2 hour.
periods of rioting.
It's why I had to. Yeah, no, that's why I had to be very, very careful what I said there. But no, the standard class would be around 1 to 2 hours, depending on. Yeah, but they're double class. Sorry, I'm responding to B.
Okay, and at the end, between classes, you have how much time?
Generally 15 minutes. So yeah, they've got enough time to go to the loo, is what you're trying to suggest. I know.
Well, yeah.
And the original thing was that you would just turn around to teachers and ask if you go to loo, and
I would say under normal circumstances that's enough time. The problem that I have is okay, we all know what these people are doing, and it's obvious in this school, for example, because there was 300 students in the riot. Okay,
yeah.
That means the school is probably what, 1,000 or so.
Yeah.
All right, which is too big. This is a problem for American schools as well. You put too many freaking kids in these classrooms.
Yeah.
Right, you got a school the size of a small city or a small town. Okay, and let's be perfectly frank, there's never going to be enough bathrooms for all these people.
No.
Okay, because that's where they chintz out. It's one thing to put a couple bathrooms in a school for 200 kids, where you got when I say a couple of bathrooms, I'm talking about like three or four
Yeah.
that are around the school in the various spots, and those are for just for the students because
Hmm.
the principal and the teachers all have their little area, okay, and that works, and I understand that that's plenty of time, all right, because most kids are not going to be going to the bathroom at the same time, all right.
Yeah.
But you take those four bathrooms and you say for a thousand kids that are all roaming around and pushing against one another.
Yeah.
Now you have a problem, and this is
Hmm.
this is endemic throughout our society, in my opinion, with these schools. Okay, everyone kept talking about class size, class size, class size. It doesn't matter about the class size; it matters the school size. The school size is far more important, frankly, than the class size.
One moment. From Matt, needs at least 900 bathrooms for all the genders. I'm guessing some of them are sharing. It's only 900 bathrooms. Come on. But you are correct. I mean, my school was basically 1,200 kids, and I can think of one, two, three. I actually would have trouble thinking of more than 4 bathrooms.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how many stalls you have in the bathrooms because bathrooms only have one entrance and one exit, the same one generally, right?
Hmm.
They're
Oh
always
yeah.
going to be co-located with the women's bathrooms either on the same in the same area, all right, because
Hmm.
that's how piping works,
Yep.
all right. So this becomes a flashpoint to begin with, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you've got so many kids crammed together, okay, you can't manage that. You can't without keeping
No.
them separated. You can't manage that. And this is the problem with we. Oh, they got so many principals and they got so many teachers and everything. So what? All the kids are together
Yeah.
in one thing. How are you? It's like herding cats, as it is.
Yeah. And now imagine trying to tell these kids, no, you can't go to the lavatory, including, as by statement with this story, girls that are actually on their periods. They, as it says, they would need a special card. Look. I realise we're both male, so a lot of this is kind of a moot conversation for us. But bringing up going on their period is generally quite an embarrassing, or at least a not necessary to be discussed thing amongst young ladies. And having to flash a card to show that they're on it, really? Even I've got to admit that's beyond the pale, in my opinion.
Well,
Unacceptable.
it's stupid. All right,
Yeah.
because for from identification purpose to begin with. I agree with that part, right?
Hmm.
But you wouldn't be having this kind of an issue, all right, be, with this if it wasn't for the fact that with 1,000 kids they lost control and they're trying to gain control, and this is one of the ways they're trying to regain control. That's the reason that they're trying to put the school rule into place. Is is there's too many kids walking out of class?
Now to get myself in trouble. I have to say that you're not wrong, but let's be honest, okay? The Muslims have the right idea. Stop training the girls. Just leave them at home. That's the only place they ain't meant for. Am I going to get in trouble for that one?
I'll be honest, Jensen. I
No.
didn't think you were going to go there.
I
I do
know. I
think
know.
I do think having segregated schools is not necessarily a bad thing. I don't
Mm.
necessarily think that the integrated schools are bad, but the problem is these schools are too large. These school districts are just out of control. All right, if you're having a problem like this, right, where you're trying to say that kids are too many kids are getting up and going to the bathroom and the classes are being disrupted, if that is happening in your school, it's your school is too big and you have no control. This kind of methodology doesn't reestablish control.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just want to pull you up on something you said. I realise that this is going to come out as a bad joke anyway, but I'm going to do it. You are saying that you agree that segregated schools are a good idea. Is this what you're telling me?
I have no problems with the idea. I think they
Okay.
are a good idea. From
Reminding
gender.
you that segregation in schools was a bit of a thing in the 1960s. Do I really need to go into any real major
We're
detail
not
on
talking
that?
segregated schools.
I know.
I'm talking about segregated schools in gender.
I know. I was taking a mickey.
Because let's be perfectly frank, right? And I'm serious about this.
Mm-hmm.
The needs for girls in learning and the needs for boys in learning are two different things entirely. Number one,
Oh God, yeah.
and the needs and discipline are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the problem when you start shoving everything together and saying, okay, everyone's all the same. There's no difference. It's a cookie cutter. Put the next one in. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the worst aspect. These stupid teachers running around going, oh, but kids need to be able to express their individuality. We don't want to destroy their individuality. Hey, that's never a problem for kids.
No.
Trust me.
No.
Okay, Jensen. Talking about kids.
Mm-hmm.
South Park creators break silence on lawsuit threats over Harry and Meghan episode. South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone have broken their silence amid the show's recent mocking of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The comedy's central writers appeared on Wednesday's Basic podcast to discuss the cartoon's legacy and many uproars over the years, just a week after bashing the ex-royals. The showrunners ignited a firestorm of controversy, or controversy, if you want to talk about it from another point of view. All right, after parodying the privacy-seeking ex-royal couple from Canada in the February 15th episode entitled Worldwide Privacy Tour. Okay. Now, they did an episode on South Park. Okay?
Yes.
Bashing the royal family. Well, not the royal family, but
No.
the
Bashing
royal
those
idiots.
two idiots. Yes.
Okay.
I'm being polite. I called them idiot. You know I can say much worse about these people.
And you notice that they are now saying that Meghan Markle is a Canadian. Just pointing it out to you,
Well,
Jensen.
well,
Right?
let's. Apparently, they actually did move to Canada at one point. I don't know what went on there, so maybe she got citizenship. No idea.
I'm telling you, well, I don't know if she applied for British citizenship or not, but I can tell you that as soon as you accept the royal title, you are no longer a U.S. citizen per the Constitution of the United States, and it has not been amended to allow anyone to have a title.
You forget to add one word. Yet, reminding you that she still thinks that she's actually got the right to go for president of the US.
I don't think that she thinks she has the right to go for presidency. I think it's just something that people say just because they want to rile people like me up. Right?
And it works.
Well, to a point. All right. The thing is that there are a lot of gullible idiots out there that'll parrot it. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem that I have with all of this is really I don't care. To me, this is a media controversy more than anything else. This is just blown up by the media. Does anybody even care that South Park? I didn't even realize South Park was still doing new episodes. Okay.
Funny enough, nor did I. But yeah.
All right. I didn't know that South Park was still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And now let's be perfectly frank here. These kids on South Park are in what, the third, fourth grade?
Right, yeah.
They've been there for how many decades? And it's going on decades now.
I'm going to remind you, based on that argument, just look at The Simpsons. Bart Simpson has been about like 9 or 10 for how long?
Yeah, that's
Oh, God,
too.
40 years. Okay?
Yeah, which is another issue.
Wow.
I think at some point you gotta understand it gets old.
Unlike the kids, yeah.
Well, it's old, and plus the fact South Park, in order to try and stay relevant, you got to be antisocial.
funnily
All right,
enough.
that's all this stuff is. That's
Yeah.
generally what comedians tend to try to be. For everybody who doesn't understand comedy generally is antisocial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have very little pro-social commentary or comedians, right? You just don't have it because what comedians are focused on are where the cracks are within society and trying to take that and look at it from another point of view. That's generally what makes things funny,
Yes.
right? Stepping outside of that, stepping outside of yourself and looking at something from a new perspective and then laughing about it, all right?
Yes.
The problem that you have in today's society with the comedians, you want to know why comedy is dead in our dead today? Is
Because
there is no
everyone wants to
society.
be the same. No, that's fair.
You
I
want to try and
accept that.
step outside society. It's like, okay, well, where's the social glue? Where are the social dynamics that you want to try and poke fun at? They don't exist anymore. This is why people, when they talk about like Wanda Sykes and her supposed comedy, it's not funny. Why isn't it funny? Because there's nothing to it. It doesn't
Oh, sorry.
exist.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Who is Wanda Sykes?
There you go. Wanda Sykes is a black woman comedian, all right, who tried to do an anti-Trump thing back when Trump was actually the president. All right,
Wow. I thought you was going to tell me it's
was
someone from the 60s.
absolutely stupid about it. Right? Nobody laughed,
Mhm.
and she blamed their audience. Okay, well these are jokes. It's supposed to be funny. You're not funny. Is the problem was, right? So,
Wow.
seeing as she's a supposed black comedian, what did they do? She is now going to be one of the hosts for the Daily Show.
Oh, God.
Right?
It's not going to go well with my. And who is that then? Okay. All right. Okay, fair. No, that's actually a genuine thing, mate. I did not. And I still only barely understand what you're talking about. This woman means nothing to me. Literally, if I met her down the road, I wouldn't know who she was.
You would go Diane Abbott.
Oh, you mean I'd run screaming, going kill it, kill it, kill it with fire? Gotcha.
All right. I want to point that out. All right, that she looks a lot like
Mm.
Diane Abbott, to me anyway.
Fair point. You,
Right? It's just
well, it's true what they say that all around the world, everyone has a double. That means there's, oh, good God, that means there's two Nancy Pelosi's out there
depending upon
somewhere.
how they're made up, right?
Okay.
Obviously, makeup can make you look like a lot of different things. But when Diane Abbott was supposedly dressing up, she looked a lot like Wanda Sykes. That just putting it out. Okay, on to some other stories, some other real news, hard hitting news. Hard hitting. I hate to agree with you, but I do, says Tucker Carlson to Jimmy Dore's baseless claims the U.S. arms Nazis in the Ukraine. Oh, good God. Comedian and political commentator Jimmy Dore went on a rant during an appearance on Fox, claiming the United States is protecting Nazis in the Ukraine during a conspiracy-laden tirade on Fox News Channel's Carlson Tonight. Dore was introduced to discuss the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage, a topic that host Tucker Carlson has repeatedly fixated on in recent months while making unsubstantiated claims that the United States was behind the attacks on the pipeline and is now trying to cover it up. Multiple U.S. officials, with the National Security Council spokesman John Kirby being the most recent among them, have denied the case. Okay. Now, my first problem with Tucker Carlson here is, why did you ask Jimmy Dore to come on? The guy's a clown. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The guy's a joke. With all due respect, okay? Jimmy Dore spit on Alex Jones. Okay? Now, I don't care if you like Alex Jones or don't like Alex Jones. I personally think he's another clown. Okay? But that's a separate issue. Okay? You don't spit on people.
No.
That's beyond the pale. You don't
Yeah.
spit on people. Now, if I'm wrong about that, if I'm mistaken, but I don't think I am. All right, Jimmy Dore was part of TYT. All right, during that episode where he got crashed, they got crashed by Alex Jones. Right?
Ah.
Am I wrong?
I have no idea, mate. I know who you're talking about, but I didn't know that they were part of it. So
Well, I think he
actually,
was on.
that's quite a surprise. Huh.
Let me
Okay.
check to make sure that I'm not
Yeah.
bashing Jimmy
Yeah.
Dore
Yeah.
unnecessary undeservedly. Let me rephrase that.
No. I never knew that Jimmy Dore was part of TYT, and I assume you're talking TYT as in the Young Turks,
Yes.
i.e., the guy who likes to shag animals and Little Miss I'm better than everybody. Just for
Yes.
clarification purposes. Okay. All right. If I'm wrong with anything I've said there, please let me know because something tells me I'm not.
I didn't know that he
But
was a stand-up comedian.
what, Jimmy Dore?
Yeah.
That is actually one of the few things I did know. Again, someone else who I could probably meet in the street and not actually recognise. I just know the name.
I don't know if he was a part of TYT or not now.
Not a clue.
Oh yeah,
Where is the left?
he
Oh,
was. Jimmy Dore show was on TYT. All right.
okay.
With the and with the Point Anna Kasparian.
Mm-hmm.
Then he launched his own YouTube channel outside
Okay.
of it. Okay. So he
So
was part
basically,
of the
he dropped the
TYT.
dead weight. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
He did.
um, the the problem that I have with this is it's the same problem I have like with, to be honest, with Alex Jones. I don't have a problem with Alex Jones crashing the TYT attempt at the Republican National Convention. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with the wet willy bullshit. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need 14-year-old stupid stuff being played by people like that when you're trying to talk about national level news.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know a lot of the millennials and angst driven Gen Xers and everything else, they think it's all cool and trolling and everything, and so there's nothing wrong with it. No, there's a lot wrong with it. Because it
Mm-hmm.
shows a massive lack of respect, not just for the other person, okay, as a childish antic like that, but it shows a lack of respect for the nation as a whole and the seriousness of these things.
Mm-hmm.
You can make light of some of the ridiculousness that goes on in these clown shows, right? Call politics all you want, as long as you keep it within the political arena. When you bring in childish gags, it's a different story.
Yeah.
This is my opinion. Like, if people are like, no man's just a wet blanket on all these people. Okay, well, then I'll be a wet blanket. That's the way it is. Or do you disagree with me?
No, I don't, but I'm actually looking at something Matt has just put. Apparently, they want to take Alex Jones's cat. I'm sorry,
Well,
what?
yeah, the Sandy Hook people are trying to basically take him into bankruptcy and keep him in bankruptcy forever. The Sandy Hook
Yeah,
parental
no,
rights.
no. I know. I'm just trying to understand that crossing over to a bloody cat.
Maybe he has a
Okay,
tiger and it's worth a lot of money. I don't know.
do you know that I would understand? Of course, if we're talking about a house moggy, I'm going to put it bluntly. A bit like, in the 80s, the pray out of my cold dead hands, I think that definitely applies here. You want my cat? Arm yourself, bitches.
You know what you do? You hand them the cat after you give them a few hits of meth.
Yeah.
Want my cat? Here you go.
Yep, that's your
He's
problem
kind of
now.
wild today.
Hmm.
Here you go.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh, Fluffy, you look like you're terrorizing little Fluffy. He doesn't seem to be happy.
Yeah.
You want Bob, cat? I got another cat, Bob.
Can't see that going badly. One sec. Hey, carry on, mate. Yeah. I know.
Here's my new
It's a
cat.
concept.
It's Bob. It's kind of big.
Mm.
I think Jimmy is lying about the AJ thing. All right, just being a spit take, but Ukrainians do torch marches and have statues of Stefan Bandera. All right, look, whether people want to admit this or not, there is truth that there were regions that were of the Ukraine that were dominated by groups that had quite an affinity for the Nazi Party.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now when I say that, I want you to understand not necessarily the Nazi ideology, okay, but with the party itself, especially with regards to the Russians. All right, the Ukrainians have never liked the Russians to begin with. All right, although they've been a part of Russia for freaking hundreds and hundreds of years. Okay, there has always been a rust spot, and it was exacerbated intentionally by people like Stalin. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
who starved the Ukrainians in the millions. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people to understand it. Now, the thing that people don't know is Stalin, technically, ethnically, wasn't Russian. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he was Georgian, next to
Explain to what?
Azerbaijan. Okay, understand the regional differences here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what
Okay.
Stalin was trying to do was create a Soviet state that saw no differences in these different ethnic groups, which is why he forcibly transplanted people from Siberia all over the place, and people from Georgia all over the Soviet Union, and people from
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine all over the mother Russia, right? And put Russians all over the place.
Yeah.
This is why there's enclaves of Russian speakers, all right, deep in the Ukraine,
Yeah.
specifically the Donetsk region, all right? And these are flashpoints, and they've been flashpoints for a long time. So to say that there's not that these are baseless claims is inaccurate. There is a basis to them. It may not be completely accurate, right? And it may be being overemphasized, which I agree that it's being touted by the people who are anti-war, pro-Russian, for lack of a better term,
Mm-hmm.
involved in this. There are too many people who constantly bring up that there were Nazis and that they're fighting the Nazis and that the Russians are doing God's work, right? That's overstating the case. Okay? It's overstating the
Okay.
case. Does it have a basis of fact? Yes. But is it overstated? Yes. Yes. It's overstated to the point where, sure, it's an element, but it's a small element. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but can you produce evidence?
Of what?
Well, you're saying that it's overstated. How
Because it's
can it be?
those areas where the fighting, where that was at. Okay, they're fighting all the way through Kiev. You do not have that same problem going through Kiev and everything else. You do not have the Nazi paraphernalia being paraded in the streets, etc., etc. Okay, you
Okay.
did in certain regions of the Ukraine, but not in Kiev and not in like Kharkov. There wasn't as huge an element.
Yeah.
Which they also tried to take. And what's interesting is those areas were successful in at least this so far in defending themselves against the Russians. Should be pointed out.
Okay.
Right? It's not that it, you got to understand all of this is rolling into what is now coalesced into a Ukrainian identity on the ground for the Ukrainians. Okay.
Hmm.
The other aspect of it is the ones who are prosecuting the most fighting against the Russians, right?
Yeah.
Since they're fighting in the Donetsk regions. Well, there are a more significant number of elements that have affiliations from those organizations, from those Nazi-like organizations. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can. This is why I'm saying it's overemphasized. Okay,
Hmm.
and they're trying to point this out. Now, if you want to point out something that is completely relevant that we need to be talking about from an American perspective, U.S. American perspective, okay, we have no dog in that fight. We have no
Yeah.
national interest involved in the dispute between the Ukrainians and the Russians. We have zero national interest.
Yeah. Technically, it's an overexcited
Okay,
civil war, basically.
in a large sense, it is. So we should not be, in my opinion, supporting the Ukrainians with weapons. I
Hmm.
don't like what the Russians are doing, but that doesn't mean I want to spend American material, all right, and American lives defending the Ukraine from the Russians.
Hmm.
And the main reason is because the Russians, all right, and the Ukrainians are two peas in a pod. Ukrainians are no better than the Russians from my perspective of corruption, how the things are being run, and everything else. They're no different. Zelensky is not a whole lot different than Putin.
Yeah. Like Matt said, though, Biden and his friends need that sweet cash,
That's a
money
different issue.
laundering.
That's another reason
Mhm.
why I am very upset that we're in Russia, and I think that we're in Ukraine rather, because to be honest, we have to fix this problem of corruption, and they're using this. Biden
Mhm.
and his cronies are using this as a money spigot, all right, for their own pockets, where they take graft when they send these millions of dollars over to the Ukraine. It then gets washed, and a percentage of it goes right into their pocket, and that's what's been happening.
I
And
don't
everyone
disagree.
just ignores that aspect of this. I feel for the Ukrainian people. Okay?
Mhm.
I also understand, hey, welcome to war, and understand this. Whether you like it or not, in order to have a nation state, you have to have defensible borders. Good luck. You have to have defined, defensible borders.
Yeah. Look, okay. Yeah, you can stop right there. Neither of our two countries can actually say anything about that. Yours has more people from Mexico wandering across it than I even want to begin to understand. And
But
my
that has
country has
nothing to do.
basically the rest of the world.
that has nothing to do with what the borders being defendable. That has everything to do with the fact that they're just refusing to defend them. Eventually,
Mm,
this will give rise to people defending the borders. Eventually, it'll come to that point.
fair.
Understand it. It will come to that point sooner or later. There's
Which
going to be
kind
a
of actually
breaking point
maps
at
into
some
one of
point.
the other stories.
Huh?
Which kind of maps into one of the other stories that you've got floating around with the people protecting certain areas. Of course, you know about the hotels and whatnot that have been bought up by the government over here and are being all of the illegal immigrants. Yeah. And you've heard about the times where people have actually rioted outside and around it, saying that we shouldn't let those pedos in. You heard about
Personally,
that? Yes.
I think yeah, I do, but I think that just like in America, you want these people around there, they should be freaking going to like Pelosi's apartment and her apartment complex and finding extra rooms. There's plenty of square footage there for her for these illegal aliens. All right, just like there is in J.K. Rowling's palatial estates all over your country.
Hmm. Over here, we have a thing called NIMBY, which is not in my backyard.
Yeah, we have it here too, which is one of the
Yeah.
reasons why those people got so upset when the Texas governor started shipping them to Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, that tickled me. That really did.
You know?
Except, of course, then they moved them all down to the military base, which I was not so impressed with.
They moved them down, and then they moved them over to New York, and in New York City, what's New York City doing now? They're shipping them to Canada. Just to let you know.
About bloody time. Oh, no, I'm being
Canadians
honest
are
with that.
pleased for some reason. We don't know why.
Can't imagine. I feel sorry for Matt having a bunch of immigrants wandering past, but hey, you lived up north. You thought you was getting away from them. Nah, they're coming through. Just deal with it.
The Ukraine is a WEF wet dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the World Economic Forum's wet dream is going to turn into a freaking absolute disaster because there is no ending to this. All right, for people who don't understand the conflict, okay, um, if they think that you can just that the Russians are just going to up and quit,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know the Russians, okay? You do
Yeah.
not understand the Russian mentality, okay? Especially in the Ukraine, there's a difference between them and Afghanistan, right? And it still took them what a decade and a half to decide that okay, we'll finally leave Afghanistan because it's just not worth the effort. Okay, but they had no dog in the fight in Afghanistan, really, when it comes right down to it, because they were just trying to keep the Russian, the Soviet states together. That's really what that was about. Okay.
And let's be honest, okay? America has given more military hardware to the to Afghanistan than it has to the Ukrainians. I just want you to realize that. You're going to go, they didn't give them any stuff. Yeah, they did. They just left it behind. And that was left.
Did you hear me arguing?
No, just in case you was considering arguing. So technically, you've given more to the Afghanis than you have to the
Have I ever
Ukrainians.
surprised you about what I argue about?
No, not overly, but I'm just allowing you to
I would be arguing about
respond.
that.
Maybe you wanted to pretend that you was. I almost feel bad saying this, but I was just giving you the option to pretend to be a air quotes nice person. Okay.
I am just a fluffy bunny overflowing with the milk of humankind.
Of humankind. Yeah. Yeah.
See, even Manning agrees. All right,
Yeah.
back. Erdogan holds phone talks with Russian and Ukrainian presidents. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and
Yep.
that's how they always pronounce it on the show. So I'm hoping I'm
Yeah.
not butchering it. Right? Held phone talks respectively with his Russian and Ukrainian counterparts on Friday, the first anniversary of the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. Erdogan reiterated that to both Putin and Zelensky that Turkey was ready to offer any assistance toward a ceasefire and peace talks between the two nations, said the Turkey's presidential office in a separate statement. In his phone conversation with Putin, Erdogan expressed Turkey's wish for an extension of the grain deal reached in Istanbul, adding that Ankara is ready to facilitate this in every way possible, according to the Turkish presidency. The Turkish president also discussed with them the latest developments in the Ukrainian crisis and thanked the two leaders for their solidarity over the devastating earthquakes that hit southern Turkey in early February. Okay. Turkey borders these countries. It has a dog in this fight.
Yes.
Erdogan is a piker. Okay? And I'm going to point something out what I mean by that. When it comes to foreign affairs and world affairs, the war in the Ukraine is not being driven on the Ukrainian side by the Ukrainians.
No.
Okay? If you want the Ukrainian side to come to terms, you've got to talk to the people who are controlling the Ukrainian side, and it's not Volodymyr Zelensky.
No.
Okay, it's President Biden. Okay, whoever's in charge of Britain at this point in time, I'm not even sure who. All right, and whoever's in charge of Germany.
Yeah.
You want to, and if Turkey really wants to end the war, they need to start with Germany and start using Germany as a wedge between the other two, because the other two, the British and the United States, are funding this war.
Mentioning
We're the ones
the
fueling
Turkey part. Okay, mentioning the Turkey part. Did you notice how they're not actually spelling it Turkey? They're spelling it, shall we say, differently?
Well,
Did you notice
that's
that?
China. This is Chinese news
No,
network.
no, it's not just China. That's actually how Turkey wants it done throughout the world.
Well,
It's not going
the
to
United
happen.
States does not on our keyboards. If you look on our keyboards throughout the United States, you will never find an umlaut.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is fair.
Those
then
two
again,
little dots above the U, there are no umlauts in American keyboards. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
Staying
we
in
do have the
Britain.
little carrot and a little squiggle line for senior, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
Coming in from the
We don't.
Spanish side, we give a nod to our Spanish speakers. Everyone else gets the pound sand, including the Germans.
Yeah. This is fair. And again, the Germans have got that thing about what is it? They swap the Z and the W or something.
You guys say Z. We say Z.
It's Z. Fucking Americans.
Z, been Z, will be Z. Always has been.
You guys can say it wrong. It's okay. We understand.
No, you don't, because you guys keep bitching about it. If you understood, you'd leave us the F alone.
We've left you alone, and you kept on saying it wrong. We're just trying to help. You're like 2-year-olds. You really are. Okay, you 2-year-olds with nukes, which is a terrifying mix.
Chinese fighter jets confront a U.S. Navy plane with CNN crew aboard as tensions simmer in the South China Sea. Couldn't do us a solid, huh, Z?
Aha!
It's a joke. It's a joke, folks.
It looks like Maddie's with me. They say Z as well. Told you.
Even the Cubans say Z. One more reason to say Z. Matt Barkley, CNN, shoot him.
Actually, I agree with him. What you do is you attach the CNN anchors on the underside of the plane. You launch them at the enemy.
No, you dangle them out there like little drones for shooting targets. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you can't really accuse them of being smart missiles as they work in CNN. Let's be fair.
Okay.
They are the ultimate definition of dumb bombs.
Kadena Air Base, Japan. The U.S. Navy reconnaissance jet flies at 21,500 feet above the South China Sea, 30 miles from the contested Parakel Islands, a group of about 130 small atolls, the biggest of which are home to Chinese military bases. A voice saying it's coming from the People's Liberation Army airport crackles over the radio of the U.S. Navy's P-8 Poseidon as a CNN crew given a rare access aboard the U.S. flight listens in. I would never allow a CNN crew anywhere near Poseidon personally. Right? American aircraft, Chinese airspace is 12 nautical miles. Not approaching any more, or you will bear all responsibility. It says. In a few minutes, a Chinese fighter armed with air-to-air missiles intercepts the U.S. plane, nestling in just 500 feet off its port side. The fighter jet was so close the CNN crew could see the pilots turning their heads to look at them and could make out the red star on their tail fins and the missiles that was armed with. Lieutenant Nikki Slaughter, the pilot of the American plane, hails the twin-seat, twin-engine PLA aircraft. This is the U.S. Navy P-8A. I have you off my left wing, and I intend to proceed to the west. I request that you do the same. Over. All right. There's no reply from the Chinese fighter, which escorted the U.S. plane for 15 minutes before turning away. To a U.S. or to the CNN crew aboard the American jet, it was stark evidence of the tensions brewing in the South China Sea. Yeah, well, this has been coming out for a while. Okay.
Yeah, hold it. You're not pulling up on one tiny thing here, okay? Lieutenant Slaughter. I mean, of all names, are you really sure that's necessarily a good one here? What do you think?
I didn't come up with a person's name.
And
Person's name
yes,
is a
I
person
actually would say
name.
lieutenant, not lieutenant, so I'm being nice.
Look, dude.
I mean, it's like,
Is there an F anywhere in
Major
lieutenant?
Chinese killer. You know, that's basically what they might as well have his name. Major Chinese bomber. That's not going to go well if he's a diplomat. Oh, bugger.
Well,
You
let's
know?
be honest. We're going to end up going to war with China pretty soon anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And the
Hit
reason
first,
is
nuke and quit.
China's getting upset.
Yes.
China is getting upset that their bought and paid for president, all right, isn't doing what they want every single time they want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep, and I agree with Matt. Sergeant Slaughter was a good wrestler. He was actually hilarious.
Oh my god. It just keeps continuing.
Did you expect any less of us, Nomad? Come on.
No. I didn't. I can't say that I was. I'm just.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, these are the stories, right? But we are getting close to a war. I do expect us to have a war with China fairly soon over Taiwan, right?
Yeah.
Unless something radically happens in China. And what I mean by that is Xi having taken the Pfizer vax suddenly dies one day. Just walking down the street, he was greeting people, done. All right. Prior to that happening, right, or I should say, aside from that happening, I don't think there's
Mm-hmm.
anything that's going to prevent this war.
No.
Xi is directing this. He wants to sit up there and he wants to take over Taiwan. All right. He wants to solidify his control. He is pushing the military to be able to do it.
You know, you could actually deal with Xi Jinping really easy. What you do is you go to Hillary Clinton and say, he knows about your secrets. The guy will not survive 2 days. I'm telling you now. He will be found tied up and shot repeatedly in the back of the head and committed suicide while doing so.
I don't think that's quite the way it works, Jackson.
Yeah, you keep telling yourself that, buddy. Okay.
I think there are limits to the Clintons' reach, okay?
No.
No.
Nice concept. No.
Concepts. Let's talk about concepts for a moment, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Pregnant U.S. inmate seeks jail release because the fetus is innocent. A pregnant woman charged with murder and jailed in Florida wants out of prison on the grounds that her unborn baby is innocent and held unlawfully, a lawyer said Thursday. The child didn't have a seat at the table when the decision to incarcerate the mother was made, the lawyer William Norris told AFP. The mother, Natalie Harrell, 24, has been in jail for some 7 months and faces a murder charge after fatally shooting another woman while taking an Uber in Miami last July. Okay.
I was going to say Florida woman. Done.
Harrell was some 6 weeks pregnant at the time of her arrest. Harrell had a gun in her purse and feared for her life and that of her unborn child, according to the petition filed last week. The fetus has not committed any crime, yet remains incarcerated in deplorable conditions. It's in the womb.
So she's probably right then. Yeah, gotcha.
All right. unless relief is granted, it will likely be brought into this world on a concrete floor of a prison cell, the petition says. The petition argues that the mother has not received proper medical care during her incarceration. Norris said he was hired by the father to be and filed a petition on behalf of the fetus. The petition asserts that the unborn child is a person. Last June, a pregnant woman in Texas who was ticketed for driving in a high occupancy load, or HOV lane, argued that her unborn child should be counted as a second passenger.
Wow.
Okay, the case made international news because it came just 5 days after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the right to an abortion enshrined in Roe v. Wade, leaving the decision up to each state to regulate. Norris said his petition, which would also benefit Harrell, is not a direct result of the Supreme Court ruling, but a consequence of that. It is interesting how society moves forward, Norris told AFP. People are starting to recognize that an unborn child is a person. Okay. Now, first of all, whether the unborn child is a person or...
Uh-oh.
Hello, Quinn.
All right. Yes, we are streaming.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hello,
Okay.
Batman.
I don't
Welcome.
fucking care.
Carry on, mate, because this has opened a whole bunch of suggestions, including one I can make, which may be difficult.
First of all, the problem I have with this is in this case specifically,
Yeah.
All right.
Did you just say Pacific?
Yes.
She's been incarcerated for 7 months. Okay.
Yes.
The baby is due in 2 months, approximately.
Yes.
Hold on. How do you know the baby's a Jew?
I said the baby is due to be born.
Yes.
Why do I have to be so pedantic with Batman?
Because Batman. That is your answer. Okay.
So, in this specific instance, they can release her, all right, to, parole her. Because she hasn't been convicted of anything. She has yet to go to trial. And she's not going to go to trial, all right, 8 months pregnant.
I have less idea about who you're going on about than Joe Biden.
We're talking about this case of, what's her name? We'll find out what her name is in a moment here.
Can I say my naughty things yet?
Natalie Harrell, all right, who has been incarcerated for murder, all right.
Ow.
I shouldn't say she's been incarcerated for murder. She's being held on a murder charge, all right, pending trial, all right, and she.
Just the one who killed her boyfriend recently.
No, she killed an Uber driver.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Nomad, you want to see what Matt says? I'm going to let you decide if you want to read that out loud.
Is she in relation to Leslie Grantham from EastEnders?
No, he's white. She's not.
Hey, you never know. He was in the army.
This is a fair statement.
You can tell the baby kicks when spare changes their body.
No, Matt. You see, as Jensen said, she's that denomination, so the baby doesn't kick. It thrusts its Glock through her stomach.
Because her superpower is not turning off dad jokes and deliberately mishearing what you say. You know these criminals to death. Are you claiming that I'm a criminal now, Maddie? Is that what you're doing?
Again, of course. I can actually deal with all of this problem.
All right,
you give her a cesarean section, rip out the child, and bring... What? Oh, sorry, I think that was too dark. Okay, my bad.
Well, let's get back to this, all right? The thing is they could let her out on parole So she has the baby, then bring her back for trial. All right.
Okay.
She does not need to be necessarily in the prison environment, right, while getting ready to give birth. She's 8 months pregnant now. All right. You can give her a month parole.
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't know about the States, but from what I've heard over here, when it comes to pregnant prisoners, the prison system over here is very good.
You're talking the United States. The
Yeah,
United States has the palatial prisons that everybody wants to go to, the average
yeah, I know.
prisons that
I
most of the
know.
prisoners go
United
to,
United
and the
States, you
hell
eat one.
prisons.
The
Okay.
United States, you're 8 months pregnant, and they still got to break them damn rocks.
Well, there are prisons like that. Okay.
Yeah, Georgia. That's all I'm saying. Georgia.
There are
That
various
place is
prisons
rather
in
well
various
known.
places that are better.
They don't have prisons in Georgia. They have bloody pits that they throw you in until you complete your sentence.
Whatever Uber drivers makes isn't enough. Well,
Hmm.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Hey, it's unusual, though, isn't it? I mean, think about it. Somebody phones up a total stranger to drive them somewhere,
Yes.
and they're the ones who kill the person driving the car instead of the other way around.
Yeah.
Well, who knows what this Uber driver was like? I haven't seen the case. Okay, one way or another. I don't know if this woman was justified or not.
Hmm.
Okay. She could have
Probably
been trying to
charged.
commit a robbery, or she could have been the victim of an attack. Okay, there's a lot of things about Uber drivers that people forget about. Taxi
Yeah,
drivers are the same way, to be honest, but
Yeah.
because
it's a lot safer with a taxi driver because they've got to be licensed, and it's a lot easier to trace them.
Cough, cough. The police. Cough, cough. Do I need to mention about
What?
the
Hey, what
event
has a
with-
white reggae band got to do with anything?
They were not a reggae band. They were not that good.
Didn't say they were good. I just said
anyway,
Have I?
I do think
Mhm.
that they do make a case for the unborn child as recognized person. That's fine. Like I said, though, incarceration, the baby is not really being incarcerated. The baby's in the womb. Wherever
Yeah.
the mother
Yeah,
is wherever.
where is the womb?
But in this case, as she's 8 months pregnant now, it's time to let her go and have her baby, and then you can put her back in prison. She has not been convicted of a crime yet, so there's no reason
It's something that's entirely possible.
Mm-hmm.
And if medical science ever managed to do it, it would release tremendous advantages and also potential tremendous horrors. The ability to transplant a womb
Mm-hmm.
with a developing fetus in it successfully.
They can, can't they?
No,
Not with a developing fetus in it at the moment.
I don't even think that
thought
they
they
can
could.
transplant a womb and have it
Actually,
viable.
yes, they can.
Yeah, no, I
It's-
thought they
I
could.
haven't
I'm
seen
sure
I
I've
haven't seen
seen
it
that.
be viable
Yeah, it
Hmm.
is. It's not permanent though. It's one of the last ditch fertility
Yeah.
treatments for women who want to get pregnant. It's also, and this is an amusing one in a way. It's also possible to do it on trans women who want children.
Okay.
yet. I don't see that.
But
being possible.
after a while, you've got to remove it again because it won't. Yeah, it's not permanent.
Yeah.
It won't take permanently. It'll take long enough.
Yeah.
I don't think this long enough is not the term you're looking for.
Long enough to bring a child to term.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jensen.
Anyway,
Former
Mhm.
in-laws arrested after missing model's body found butchered and cooked.
Wasn't
yes.
me. I'm not going to
Former-
Hong Kong for no bugger.
The former in-laws of a Hong Kong model have been arrested after her legs were found in a fridge and human tissue was discovered in pots of soup days after she went missing.
I'm sorry, but Hong Kong model, wouldn't it just be plastic found?
Police have so
That's
far
a fair statement.
not been able to locate the head, torso, or hands of Abby Choi, 28, a famed model who had more than 80,000 followers on Instagram and was reportedly seen mingling with celebrities regularly.
So what they're saying is celebrities ate her. Okay.
Her
Hey, can you scroll?
ex-husband could not
Can,
be tracked, but police arrested his parents and
can
brother
you scroll
on
up
murder
again?
charges.
Can you scroll up to the first picture again, please?
This one?
Can you scroll
I
up?
think he has. We're waiting for YouTube to catch up.
Oh, I thought you said what? Sorry,
No, I said
your mistake, Nomad.
no. He's going down. Similar to up, but it's the opposite. Wow. No, he's still going down. Okay.
I'm not going down. I'm going up.
Now he's going up. Yay! Up. Up.
Yay!
Wait, it's not down.
delay. Right, like I said, to the first picture, please.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to make a sarcastic comment. I'm just going to make an observation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's
You'll
better
see it
with
in a
the first
moment. You'll
picture.
see it in a moment. We'll get there.
He
We'll get
says,
there for
yeah.
this. See, if
Yay!
you're hungry and in China, that's what dogs
Yeah.
and cats are.
It's something which seems peculiar to specifically Chinese women.
Go on.
Yet some of them, they've got such a perfect looking face. It actually does trigger the uncanny valley effect,
Yeah.
like hers does.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything derogatory about her looks or about her as a person or even Chinese people, but it's true.
Yeah. From Matt, she's kind of cute. Cute enough to eat.
I don't know. She's so thin, you wouldn't use her as a toothpick.
Good for soup. Oh no, that's right. They found her in soup. Okay.
On Friday, following a
soup.
citywide manhunt, police arrested the model's former husband on suspicion of murder. Superintendent Alan Chung said the flat was arranged. By cold-blooded killers meticulously. Tools that are used to dismember human bodies were found in the flat, including meat grinders, chainsaws, long raincoats, gloves, and masks.
And it didn't help that he kept offering the arresting officers a meat pie.
Officers
Finger
also
food,
found
anyone?
Abby's ID card, credit cards, and other items in the house.
Her
Mhm.
teeth.
It's unfortunate, but she
No, the next line. The next line. Come on.
So the next line.
The property where her legs were found is Lungmei Village in Taipo, a residence. Yeah, he's
I'm
talking
not
about.
going to try to pronounce these things. Are you kidding me?
Fair point. It's just the fact that he's sitting there saying they found her teeth. No, they found her legs.
Yeah,
Okay,
they found
screw
the
stuff
head,
with
the hand.
You know why they found the legs all the way over there? They're the only part that escaped.
That is what you call legs up to here, literally.
That's what you call legging it.
She was having financial disputes. What a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he couldn't afford any meat.
Quite frankly, she's on they have her on the cover of Vogue magazine, right?
They've also got they've also got her on the cover of the Good Cooking Guide.
I knew he was going to do that one.
Right. So she obviously was a known.
I mean, look at her. Look at her. She's got the face. She's got that thin body. Yeah, she's going to make a good career in modelling. It's obvious.
Not for long.
Well,
Sorry,
anymore.
was that too harsh? Oh, good. I'm glad someone else agreed with me there.
Anyway.
I'll tell you one thing.
She did on the screen because they're not trying to say that out loud.
Anyway. One thing, she was definitely a cut above the rest.
Key U.S. inflation measure surges at fastest rate since June. On that note, the Federal Reserve preferred inflation gauge. For some reason, I'm having trouble reading today.
He's worried about pronouncing it.
I'm not the only one. Ibn Abbott Ubit. Okay. Anyway, all right. Last month at its fastest pace since June. An alarming sign that price pressures remain entrenched in the U.S. economy and could lead the Fed to keep raising interest rates well into this year. No, it's going to cause them to keep raising interest rates. Now go ahead, Batman.
Oh no! You shot us down. I shall accept my shot down status and act humbly and cowed for the next 2 minutes.
This is your chance to say things. You have 2 minutes and counting.
He'll just take notes. That doesn't do you any good. Are you kidding me?
Take
1
notes.
minute
Take
56.
notes. I've got a dictaphone here.
But no, the U.S. inflation and the inflation rate as a whole, because of the overspending, right, it's not stopping. It's continuing. It's continuing to go higher. And they're talking about major taxes. They're not talking about any kind of cuts to the government, which is absolutely critical to stop this inflation.
Shut up, that man. You're still not. No, you're still in your 2 minutes. Be quiet.
No, that was insulting, Bits.
Uh,
Slow Dad, to be perfectly honest, it's not just overspending. It's the artificial price hike on energy bills.
Yeah.
Well,
across the board. And it is an artificial price hike.
That is a problem as well, right? I'm not going to deny that, right? And it's going to continue. As long as you have Biden in the White House, it's going to continue. Because they do not accept they want to spend this country into oblivion so they can remake it in their own image.
What do you mean this country? They're doing it the entire Western world, man.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's your problem. You guys are independent and free now.
You're part of the Western world as well. Therefore, it's your problem as well.
Well, we have our own problems.
Oh, hold on. No,
I said that already.
I'm wrong. Sorry, I'm wrong. I take it back. You're owned by China.
Oh, dude, that's harsh.
Well, our president is owned by China, that's for sure.
Notice he's coming back after his 2 minutes with that line. That's harsh.
Mind. In defence of Nomad, our Prime Minister works for Brussels.
This is a fair statement.
I thought he worked for his wife. Anyway.
Yeah, like he's that good.
Anyway. Where is Mad Dodge
Wally?
when you need him? Where is Mad Dodge when you need him? Daily study. All right.
He's probably screaming at you, but seeing as you're not psychic, you can't hear him.
Or I've just been ignoring him. Study daily marijuana use linked to heart disease. And they look at the picture on this woman. This is the most narcissistic, lost in the world woman you could ever have. All right, this picture could not be any better if you freaking tried.
Why does it look exactly like the character that DC came up with in that really short run and abandoned comic book, I Am Not Starfire, about Starfire's daughter?
Nomad. Serious time now, okay? There's one problem with that picture that you see there. You can't see the arm of the woman tattooed on her arm. I wonder if it's got another picture of that woman on it, going down to an infinite level.
It could
be. Wow,
I mean,
quantum.
There's a tattoo of herself.
Yeah.
Right? Smoking a joint with a picture. Daily.
That starts off the first tattoo is a picture of herself being offered a joint before she actually got hooked on them.
Daily marijuana users face a 1/3 more chance of developing coronary artery disease compared to those who have never used the substance, according to research released Friday from the American College of Cardiology. The study, which was presented at the organization's annual scientific session together with the World Congress of Cardiology, said that previous studies had been mixed on cannabis use and heart disease. Okay, so what changed?
I would hazard a guess that it's actually alcohol, right? You have a moderate amount of alcohol during the week. It's actually good for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would hazard a guess that stuff like marijuana, if you use it in moderation, it might actually be good for you. But most people who are using marijuana use it to excess.
Yes. To be
Coronary
honest,
disease,
almost
or
everything's
CAD,
except.
is the most common form of heart disease and occurs when the arteries that supply the blood to the heart become narrowed because of buildup of cholesterol. The disease often causes chest pain, shortness of breath, and fatigue, and it can lead to heart attacks. We have found that cannabis use is linked to CAD, and there seems to be a dose response relationship in that more frequent cannabis use is associated with a higher risk of CAD. Insan Parangib.
Mm-hmm.
You want to try
Oh.
and find?
I don't know where you're at.
I can see where he's at, but it's a good enough version.
A
Parangib.
resident physician at Stanford University said
Now,
in a statement.
Can I direct your attention to the picture of the sweatshirt there?
I agree with that.
Dogs make me happy. Humans make my head hurt. Stop eating humans.
Fair statement. Maybe she's smoking them.
I may look calm, but in my head I've slapped you 3 times. I need that one.
No, that's Shirati's shirt right there.
No, it's not, because it wouldn't have the "I may be calm, but in my head" bit.
No, that's true. That's actually a fair statement.
Talking about stuff like this, I've been seeing more and more videos about people who've gone on this it's colloquially called the carnivore diet.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost or even in some cases 100% meat.
No. How will I cope? Yeah.
Apparently, these people who've gone on it, they're seeing a remission in pre-existing health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Take that, vegans.
The vegans will say the same thing.
Yeah, well, vegans will say the same thing, whilst taking all these supplements that most of the ingredients you need to kill animals to get.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. NFL, and I realize that Jensen and Batman here, that they don't give a shit at all about this story, but I'm going to make some comments because
you mean American Sissy Rugby?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the commentary. I'm going to make is more in a broader sense. The NFL world reacts to insane Lamar Jackson news. It's been clear for months that the Baltimore Ravens and star quarterback Lamar Jackson were having trouble coming to terms with a contract extension, and many assumed that the reason for the disagreement was that Jackson was seeking a fully guaranteed contract, much like quarterback Deshaun Watson got from the Cleveland Browns. But according to a recent report, that might not be the case. During Friday's edition of First Take, Stephen A. Smith reported that Lamar Jackson and his camp emphatically assured him that he has never asked for a fully guaranteed deal and that the Ravens won't give him more than $133 million guaranteed. I was contacted by someone in Lamar Jackson's camp yesterday, and I was absolutely and emphatically assured that Lamar Jackson has never asked for a fully guaranteed deal. A, he has never asked for a fully guaranteed contract. B, the number that the Baltimore Ravens stopped at was $133 million guaranteed, Smith said. This is with them knowing that Deshaun Watson got $230 million, that Kyler Murray got $189 million, and that Russell Wilson got $165 million. The Ravens supposedly, according to Jackson's camp, have stopped at $133 million. Now that is an insult if true. All right, there is no excuse. That is a lowball offer. In today's market, everybody and their grandma know it. All right, Deshaun Watson is an outlier. The Ravens have no obligation to reach that crazy deal. But don't tell me that what Kyler Murray got, Lamar Jackson doesn't deserve, Smith said. Okay. Now, hold on a second. First of all, first of all, with when it comes to Stephen A. Smith, okay, Stephen A. Smith, you need to shut your pie hole about this issue because you're completely wrong about it. Okay, and Stephen A. Smith, for those who don't know, is a well-known sports broadcaster. All right, he is the mainstay of ESPN in the morning, and what's worse is he's getting over $12 million a year as that mouthpiece. Okay, he has friends throughout the industry, including one of his good friends who works for Fox News named Sean Hannity, who constantly tries to sit up there and placate this man and goes, "Oh no, he's a good guy." No, he's not. Okay. Now, the three people that he mentions in this category, all right, Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, and Russell Wilson, all three of them, all three were massive busts as quarterbacks. They were massive failures. So if you're going to sit up there and say they're lowballing Lamar Jackson, I'm sorry, but where was Lamar Jackson when they tried to win? Stephen A., this is a problem where you think that all of a sudden there's this major money spigot, and the only reason you're making an issue with Lamar Jackson, quite frankly, all right, is because of the color of his skin. If Lamar Jackson was a white guy, you wouldn't be saying a friggin' thing, Mr. Smith. I don't want to hear about it. And this goes to, hold on, because I want to finish my point here.
Stop taking those long pauses so we know when you're finished.
Okay, I agree. I understand. That's just one more point. Right now, when you look at the NFL, when you look at the NBA, when you look at the NHL, when you look at Major League Baseball, when you look at the major sports that are happening in our country today, the biggest problem with it is that they're spending way too much. Right? Not just on the players, but also on the stadiums, the tickets, and everything. It's gotten out of control to where they're no longer affordable by the average person. It used to be that everyone could sit up there and walk into a stadium, all right, and watch a baseball game for just pocket change. All right? Most people don't have $200 in their pocket to go to a stadium nowadays. And that's what it's going to cost you.
It's the same everywhere. And to be perfectly honest, what Matt said, I've been saying since the fucking 80s. People in the entertainment industry, because let's face it, sport is the part of the entertainment industry, right?
Yes, it is. You're correct.
They're ridiculously overpaid. If I had my way, they'd be on piecework. No, they don't get paid when they're not working, and they only get paid by the results that they achieve.
Well, and that's why this whole thing is about. They're fighting about this. Now, for those who don't know anything about this, all right, pause for dramatic effect.
Yeah, icing. Yeah, that's not too bad, Bobby. But yeah, Nomad here pauses so long. It's not icing. It's a fucking glacier.
Don't forget to give him.
I give him Bobby B manager rights. He is now a moderator.
Yay! Everybody, 3 cheers for Bobby B in the chat.
The thing is with all of this going on, okay, what Batman is saying is these people being overly ridiculously priced. It's throughout the entertainment industry. It's bred in circuses everywhere. It's bred in circuses. You got a war in the Ukraine, and I can tell you right now, people who are just watching what's going on generally still don't have an understanding of how brutal that fighting is, how devastating it is. And then part of the reason is they don't want to show the casualties on the Ukrainian side. They keep talking about the numbers of the Russians that are dying, but they don't ever talk about the number of Ukrainians that are dying.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, people are just, okay, it's just a number on a page. Okay? Yep. Oh, they'll pull up the poor mother who goes, "Oh, those evil Russians did X, Y, Z, blah," and crying on on the television. But you're not seeing the horrors of war.
No, they don't. The vast majority of people in the West see war as how it's depicted on the movies. They don't see the blood, the guts, the stench, the fear. Something that people I know who've actually seen live combat have always said. Even in the quiet moments between combat, you're living in a state of fear.
A definite heightened sense of anxiety.
Yeah, and
that's how humans were created.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, not to that degree. Not to the degree that you get in war, which is why most people who come back from actual combat tend to have either long-lasting or short-term psychological disorders.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like you went there with these psychological disorders.
Can't argue there.
Probably came back with less.
Jensen's therapy treatment. I don't think.
I don't think that's joking.
I don't think that's the spa that most people are looking for. That's just putting it out there, right? All right, and no, Captain America wasn't real. Welcome, Sixer. How's it going? So yeah, the thing is that they're treating this as if it's a glorified crusade, right?
They're treating it like they're treating it like a live action TV, like a reality TV show. That's what they're treating it like.
Good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. An excellent way of expressing it, because they themselves aren't involved, at least not yet.
No, they think they are, but they're not.
Right.
And most of these people who are clamoring for war and conflict, if ever they get embroiled in it, they'll be the people trying to desert.
Oh, of course they will. It's the same thing with the eco terrorists, right? Like your Stop Oil or the eco terrorists here in the United States. They're the same kind of LARPers. Okay, they're not doing this for any real cause. In fact, if a real cause ever jumped up and slapped them in the face, most of them screaming, so forth.
Most of them are doing it to act out against mummy and daddy, even if they're in their 50s or 60s.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
No, he's not wrong.
Which tells us where our society's gotten, how.
Well, it's a psychological fact. Most humans, even up until the day they die, are still trying to get back at the parents in some way. It's always been a thing because your parents have a hell of an effect on you. Yeah, both good and bad.
I don't know if you stay in a rebellious state forever. I didn't.
Not so much in a rebellious state, but on some level, there's always a bit of conflict between you and your parents. That's the natural state.
Well, but that's because you have a point of respect with your parents. You get to a point where, at least I did.
It's also a point of resentment.
My parents tremendously, but at the same time, I'm still my own individual. Right?
Yeah.
I still
there's also a point. There's also, to some degree, there's also a point of resentment because for all of your development up until becoming an adult, you were under their control. Human beings resent being under control.
I didn't. I'll be honest with you. Right? I look back at that and I don't resent them for that because I know for a fact it was absolutely necessary. Okay.
Come on, Norman. We know you're so old. You didn't have parents. You reproduced by cellular mitosis. Tell the truth.
Ridiculous.
No, sorry, no, Jensen. Sorry. Yeah, you reproduced by accretion disc. Sorry, Jensen, I forgot.
No, okay. but this idea of worshiping celebrities, this idea that somehow
that's exactly right.
Lamar Jackson deserves to have more than 130. Think about that, $130 million guaranteed, even if you never play another down, and that's not enough. That's an insult.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this guy is saying.
And what you said is exactly right. If you know the Terry Pratchett books, gods are created by human belief.
Yeah.
If that really happened, most of these high-ranking celebrities find themselves with unusually powerful abilities, because people, even people who say they're Christians and that in the West, they're not worshipping their faith. They're worshipping celebrities.
Explain Sarah Jessica Parker.
They are the new gods.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there's too much of that. Like, I can't argue.
Yes.
And
Yes.
these people are horrific human beings to begin with, generally.
Yes.
Okay, many
Yeah.
of them. Not everyone. I'm not
It's
saying that
mainly
they're all-
because, especially in the acting profession, because they don't grow up. I mean, what do they do for a living? They play dress up and let's pretend.
I mean,
Yeah.
most musicians are the same way, though.
Yeah.
That's because good musicians get their egos not just stroked, but gluttonized.
Well, the fact but they're lionized and they're idolized,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the whole idea of the out of control rocker is an example of that.
I've heard of quite a few people who've made it big in the music industry, and they've started off as decent people, and by the time their careers really gotten going and they're really getting big, their egos have been stroked so much. They're not the same people anymore. They're giant children.
Yeah. Right. Well, because they can be.
The way
the
the entertainment industry is built, it destroys people.
Well, yeah, because
right.
the problem is that at some point in reality, while you're feeling like the grasshopper, eventually the winter comes and the grasshopper starves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to happen to a lot of millennials too, because they're acting the same way.
Oh, especially if there's a Carrington event, you'll see all these millennials and post-millennials lying in the streets, twitching beside these unworking phones.
I think that's probably going to be when they talk about the apocalypse, right?
Mm-hmm.
The apocalyptic landscapes, and they always show these people with bodies like these skeletons and everything. The one thing they never show is exactly what Batman said: a cell phone in their hands. They should over half of these people should have a cell phone in their hand or one lying near them.
Do you know that's something I would do if I had a time machine?
Mm-hmm.
I'd find out when the next T-Rex is going to be found, right? First of all, and I'd go back in time, find that T-Rex when it dies, and I would put a giant mobile phone in its undersized hand.
It would be a good warning.
Mm.
They'd cover it up, though.
Yeah. But they cover up all these.
Last two stories of the day. Jensen.
Don't blame me for this.
Busted for bizarre bid to game a urine test. In a harebrained scream destined to fail, a Florida woman thought she could game a court-ordered urinalysis test with a pill container filled with soda and tap water, according to court records. As a result of guilty pleas last month for a pair of felony charges, Sharon Hunter... What was that, Batman?
I screamed.
That was his response to seeing the...
Oh my God. That looks like Jack Lord gone transvestite.
All right. Sharon Hunter, 44, was required yesterday to provide probation officers in Clearwater with a urine sample. Seen at the right, Hunter, who recently copped to possessing painkillers without a prescription and theft counts, apparently knew her urine would prove to be dirty, so she attempted to use a prescription pill container full of an unknown liquid to pass her urinalysis, and arrest affidavit notes.
Right, before you go on, can I address Matt Bartley in the chat? And it's not a silly thing. No, Matt, it wouldn't, because you can actually trace somebody's DNA by urine, and
Yeah.
that's one of the tests that they would do on it
Right.
for
The
just that
scheme,
reason.
which involved Hunter hiding the pill container inside herself, was detected by probation officers familiar with the popular container in the vagina gambit. Usually, such a container will hold synthetic urine sourced online or pee provided by the probationer by an acquaintance, to the probationer by an acquaintance.
Yeah.
After being read her
But,
rights,
like-
Hunter, however, admitted that the liquid in her plastic container was just soda and tap water, a concoction that would have resulted in a failed test. While the court records did not identify the soda involved, either Sprite or Mountain Dew could be seen as a good bet.
But like I said, Nomad, generally, especially nowadays, a criminal goes for a urine test. They also do a DNA test on it to make sure that it is their urine.
Well, in this case, the DNA would not show up, so they would say that whatever.
Oh, hold on. There's another reason why they wouldn't do it. It's a Florida woman.
Yeah.
They don't have that kind of technology in Florida.
He's got a point there.
All right. I mean, it does give an interesting idea of do.
Oh, dude.
No, it's Dudy.
We're going to do. Okay, cool. All right.
Well, here's another. This one's closer to me, actually. If you take a look at this sweater that this person's wearing, I had my patients tested. I'm negative. I think that fits out pretty well.
I'm okay with that.
Final story of the day. Are we ready?
No, we're not. Because Matt Buckley's come up with a perfect comment. Worst Mountain Dew flavour ever. That wins right there.
Yep. There we go. We've seen the t-shirt now.
Yeah.
I like the one. Don't try and engage my enthusiasm. I had it removed.
All right. Well, maybe we'll.
I love you like another t-shirt I've seen. I love you like a brother. By the way, my name's Kane.
Can't see that going badly.
All right. This the second to the last story of the day.
Okay.
Moose takes up resident outside Utah Rangers office front door. A U.S. Forest Service is warning visitors to a ranger district office in Utah to be aware of a young bull moose that has claimed the building's front door as his territory. The U.S. Forest Service UNITA? I can't remember that. Wasatch, whatever. National Forest said in a Facebook post that the moose had been lingering around the door for several days and is not shy about taking a rest right next to the front door. Now, why would a moose in frozen winterland want to sit next to, I don't know, a warm heated front door?
Can't imagine.
I don't know. Why?
This shows that what they're doing is they're evolving. They've begun to realize that human beings, there's some use for these creatures aside from road patties. That's all. That's all a moose looks at a human being as a road patty. Let's be honest.
Yes. Especially after the sort of weights you was talking about. Oh God, yes.
Now this moose looks to be about a juvenile of about 300 to 400 pounds, right? 500 pounds or so. Okay, just from this.
Right.
The post advised potential visitors to call ahead before approaching the office. He does hang around the building all day. That's because they're worried about this thing.
No, lads, I'm dropping this video into general. I think you can share it with the audience as a palate cleanser.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can. You can actually. It's funny,
What
and
are
it's
you
funny
putting in
as
here?
it's non-toxic.
It's non-toxic. Okay, what did you put in here?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's pull this up here. Let's put this over here. Excuse me while I nestle this on up in here. Where's this at?
Don't know if you'll be able to play sound through it. It's in general.
Well, I'm trying to wait to see where it's coming up.
We're not getting
It's
it,
not
mate.
showing up. It's age restricted.
It's age restricted.
No.
How's it age restricted?
From Twitter, age restricted adult content. This content might not be appropriate for people under 18. To use this media, you need to log into Twitter. All right.
Do you know what it is?
It's
No.
cats.
It's cats.
Well, I can't help that.
It's
age
cats
restricted.
being arseholes.
Yeah.
They're age restricted cats then. But the thing that gets me about
losing
moose,
its mind.
people picture the moose with the big antlers and everything. The thing that's impressive to me about those antlers on a moose, you got to remember, those things come out every single year. They drop off. Those antlers drop. That's how much mass is being grown on that creature every single year and then discarded.
So what you're saying is mass on the moose. Gotcha.
Well, I mean, it's just think of how much food that thing has to eat every year.
Yeah.
To get like that.
I just posted the link in live chat there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just cats being arseholes. How's it?
They are. Except for that last one, it looked like it had a heart attack.
I'll have to look at this later.
It's
the last story though.
Yep.
Okay.
I thought that was the last story. Go on then.
That was.
No, he said second to last.
But I saw this one too.
Oh dear.
God.
Bear escapes from St. Louis Zoo enclosure for the second time in a month.
And the thought about me with Arkham Asylum.
I think you have a problem here.
Hold on. Did the bear have a white face and green hair and red lips?
Yes.
No.
It was in disguise.
The St. Louis Zoo was placed on lockdown Thursday when an Andean bear escaped from his habitat for the second time this month. Zoo officials said that the 4-year-old bear named Ben escaped from his outdoor habitat at around 1 p.m. and they implemented a lockdown with guests being escorted to indoor facilities. All right, the bear was safely recaptured about an hour later at the River's Edge area of the zoo near his enclosure. The bear previously escaped from his enclosure on February 7th when he tampered with the steel mesh around the exhibit, causing a cable to break. The zoo said the steel cargo clips have been added to reinforce the enclosure, but Ben still managed to escape again.
Take the bobby pin off the bear.
Unclear.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate that the bear didn't sit there and say, you know what? It's time to put you guys in the cage and start shoving people in the enclosure.
Nomad. Take the lockpicking kit off the bear.
Are you gonna sit there, reach up to the JJ to do the body orifice check?
No.
That's a fair point.
No. That's what you're for. I mean, let's face it, you're big enough to just pick the bear up by the scruff of the neck and shake him until everything falls out.
At this point in time, it's like time to take the bear back to the wild and let it go.
Yeah.
It'd probably escape into the city.
That's the thing. It probably would.
Yeah, but then what's it going to find? Especially
you know what it's doing.
If it ends up in East St. Louis, okay, it's
No.
going to chew on a few people, get a meth habit going, and all hell's going to break loose.
In all seriousness, you know what's happening? This bear, it's 4-year-old. It's a young bear.
Mm-hmm.
It's not breaking out to escape. It's just curious.
I thought you were going out to meet the girls. No, seriously, You probably find it. Elgon wants to go and join the owl in New York City and live free amongst the people. What do you think?
Well, the owl roaming around Central Park is kind of cool,
Yeah.
right? A big
Yes.
owl, huge freaking owl, but that's pretty cool because it can eat rats. A bear roaming around Central Park on its own
It can eat muggers.
rats.
It's
Are
gonna
you?
eat muggers.
No. Whoa. Are you telling me that bear can't eat rats? Are rats really that dangerous? Damn,
It's
American
not,
rats
that's
are
not,
terrifying.
I'm saying that it's not going to chew on at least the rodentia rats. It may take a few human rats with it.
Yeah, like I said, it'll feed on
Well,
muggers.
Yeah,
Look
we're on a
for
win-win.
And
Jensen.
it'll develop the meth habit because it's a young bear that's impressionable, and a few drugs later, oh, that meth hippie was good. Now I'm addicted.
It's good. Yeah, you're going to see it coming down. Hear it half an hour before it attacks you because of all the gold around its neck.
Make it really terrifying for you, okay? Crossing over to the way Batman thinks. Spider Bat. Oh, sorry, Spider Bear. So, Spider Bear does whatever a Spider Bear does. I mean, come on. That is a horrifying thought. The idea of that swinging through the streets of Manhattan, that would scare the living hell out of anyone.
Actually, Jensen, you're wrong. It's Spider Bear. Spider Bear does whatever the fuck it wants to do.
That's a fair statement, yeah. Who's going to stop it? Yeah.
No, but seriously, when it comes to rats, specifically urban rats, they're so chock of diseases, and urban rats have far more diseases than like rats in the countryside.
Oh God, yeah.
They're actually poisonous. Their meat is poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you cook it thoroughly, you're still going to get all manner of diseases.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
No, it's not possible. It's fact.
I'm willing to accept it. To be honest, that's probably how you keep the rednecks down. They eat the rats kill.
That's not population control. All right, that's all I've got for the day. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, go on, sod off. It's over. You not got homes to go to. Go on, sling your hooks.
And we're done.